We're excited to be here today with one of the top age reversing experts out there.
You can't break universal law. The most beautiful things in life that are worth the most, they just can't be just bought by money. Why don't we look at the scientific studies about mindfulness, yoga, and breath work and meditation? Let's incorporate those to make sure we cover all the bases. Haha, gotcha. Made you a better person. You came here for vanity and to have better sex and to look better. And I just made you an awesome person because you know what? It's hard to stay a person if you're doing yoga 3 times a week and doing our 15-minute breath work and meditation.
Welcome to the Uncommon Entrepreneurs Podcast. We're excited. We interview top-level entrepreneurs, investors, and game changers. We're here based in Puerto Rico, sunny Puerto Rico. However, we're approaching this with a hyper-global perspective and hyper-local on how it's applicable to here with the socioeconomic values and so forth. We're excited to be here today with just one of the top age reversing experts out there talking about regenerative agriculture, talking about your farm that you got on the island, talking about just your background and your story with Kung Fu Yoga, which I don't know if you invented, but I've never heard of it before, and all the things in between about how a person can essentially, as you call it, suspend aging. And so, Ocean, we're excited for you to be on. My name is Drew Cutcomb.
I'm Brian Bourgery, and we're going to dive right in. So,
Awesome.
Ocean, thanks for being here with us today.
I'm honored.
We've been wanting to dive deep with you on a number of different things, but we'll take it a little bit at a time. So for those who don't know you yet, tell us a little bit of background of who you are, how you came to be here at this table with us, just a quick little rundown.
I am a age reversal specialist and master healer. I moved to Puerto Rico 3 years ago. Before that, I was in California. Before California was Vegas, and where I went there for football and fighting professionally after college in Texas, and I got sucked into promotions and hosting and managing DJs. So I recognize that promotional background. I authentically kind of really blew up as a promoter there, just passion. So I noticed that worked for me. And then it got a little toxic after a while, though it was really fun, especially in the beginning. And I knew that my passion and my goals were always to suspend and reverse the aging process, especially for myself. I've always been committed since 6 years old to living to 200. It was something that my very capable parents were really supportive on. I don't remember them being really supportive on anything except for this. My mom, a medical doctor, and my dad, PhD biochemist, super genius. And so I always had a passion for that. That's what I was always like kind of a nerd, a chess club captain and such. And sports was kind of a reaction that wasn't expected, and I wasn't expecting to be so good at sports, and it was kind of a traumatic event that made me good at sports, and I rode that. But the goal was always longevity and managing sciences that could make the world a better place. That was always my ultimate passion. So when Vegas got too toxic and I knew I needed to move on to what my calling was, I had an opportunity to take some time away and really focus on what I wanted to create. I moved to California with the intention of really focusing in on advanced health and for myself, for my company, for the world. I mentored with top anti-aging doctors there in Southern California, Dr. Nick Delgado, Dr. Michael Grossman. And I was a director of marketing. So I used that promotional background. I was at executive level for a house music radio station towards the end of Vegas. And I brought that passion and that excitement over to anti-aging and helped them do what they were doing and and got a lot of insight and a lot of direction and understanding the inside of the business and where I could be effective to, have my unique experience, which was, professional athletics and football and fighting, and subsequently the chronic pain that I developed after that. It actually was a component of the anti-aging and age reversal that I didn't recognize that they saw. Dr. Nick, yeah, he was into fitness and he was like a strength champion and certain things like that. So I definitely honor him. And Dr. Grossman's one of the godfathers of like biomedicine, like stem cells and exosomes. But yeah, and then I worked with certain athletes like the Paul brothers and helped them with their longevity in regard to sports because, my background, I wanted the pain that I went through to have a benefit to somebody else. So I thought there was a point where I was so strong. I was pound for pound the strongest in the NCAA in college. So I knew how to push. Like I was telling Drew, like I was a master of yang. I lifted harder than everyone else. I partied harder than everyone else. I fought harder than anybody else. I chased girls harder than anybody else. I was good at that stuff, but I wasn't good at the yin stuff and the recovery and the calmness and all those aspects. I didn't realize how important those were. So getting slammed on the ground from being too much yang developed a really huge appreciation for the yin, the healing arts, both mentally and spiritually. So my journey into yoga was also the same time my journey into personal development and emotional intelligence. There's really incredible communities in LA that support that. So, all of that kind of brought me to where I am today. I moved to Puerto Rico 3 years ago. Jake was like, come down here to Puerto Rico, where I was like working with him like at least every 2 weeks, doing sessions with him wherever he was at. I'd fly to Miami, I'd fly here, fly there. Originally we were in Calabasas, but I was at that time I was looking into Costa Rica. I went with some clients to Costa Rica a couple times, and I was like, I'm recognizing that I don't need to stay in LA to build my business, and my clients are just flying me everywhere. I think I should move to Costa Rica because I didn't feel healthy and safe and happy in LA. And then when I was preparing to do that, Jake was like, you should move to Puerto Rico. I looked into it. I didn't believe that it was quite as conscious as Costa Rica. Costa Rica deserves their props. They like have a very progressive culture and a very conscious community. I really love it there. I didn't think Puerto Rico was that, but I saw it as an opportunity along with the, successful type of people that it attracts. I was like, wow, this could be a really powerful opportunity to bring that energy to this island. And so that's really where conscious age reversal community really sprung from, where I really realized that obviously there are successful people who aren't just committed to the money, but they're also committed to, at the end of the day, human potential. And I knew I'd find some of those people here. And from that, we had the ability to be perceived as conscious and healing as Costa Rica.
Yeah, I think that Puerto Rico is in an interesting precipice. It's in a moment where, like you're saying, it's attracting these successful people. There's already a culture that can transfer. And when we say uncommon entrepreneurs, 4 pillars come to mind: wealth, health, relationships, and spiritual alignment. And so obviously you're kind of like hitting and overlapping, hence why we wanted A, you being an entrepreneur, and B, getting health in your body is everything. So maybe pivoting towards like somebody who's listening in that's like, what is suspend aging? What is age reversal? What does that even mean? Because obviously there's a lot of people that are marketers online that, there is due cause to be skeptical on when they say that type of thing.
Absolutely.
But I think as we talk about it, offline and in general, understanding what you're doing, having exercise, eating right, and balancing technology is an important factor in what you're promoting and so forth. So maybe somebody listening, like what can they functionally do taking away from this to like understand on a simple sense of what you mean by it and just what they could do today?
Absolutely. So first, I just want to explain, like you were saying, what age suspension and age reversal is, so it doesn't seem corny or woo-woo, but it's simply the management of aging markers. That's at the end of the day what it is. True age reversal is something that has to be quantified, right? Or don't talk to me about it. Like I'm past the point in my life. Going through my chronic pain made me resentful and bitter in this way, but I don't play. If somebody says something is good for me, show me a number. Show me that something's changing.
Should be data backing it.
Yeah. Or don't tell me it's good for me. If you can't show me the studies and then once I do it, quantify the before and after, I don't want to touch it. Even there's certain things that I believe in but can't quantify, I would never recommend them to anyone. And that's just where I'm at with that. But there are certain markers that de-optimize as we age, right? So hormone levels, telomere length, DNA methylation, toxification increases as we age, mitochondrial dysfunction increases as we age, joint deterioration, joint and skin deterioration, mobility declines as we age. All of these things have quantifiable markers that can be managed, right? So if you can keep those markers the same as when you were young, then that's age suspension. If you can reverse those back to youthful levels where they were when you were younger chronologically, then that's age reversal. It's just numbers. It's just management. Now, there's over 200 markers that we manage, and we always try to manage those in the most comprehensive, holistic, and sustainable way possible. And that's what conscious age reversal is about. It's about, recognizing that that it's a holistic management, that certain areas affect other areas. We don't come at it with a specialist mindset that allopathic medicine has. We have more of a functional medicine mindset where it's an ecosystem, it's an environment. And, I use therapies that benefit multiple aspects of our being, and our whole being affects our aging process, right? I like to think of it like you can do like all the good stuff, the exercise, the medicines, and even the biomedicines. But if you have a poor mindset or a negative mindset, or you have trauma that's undealt with, then I believe that can create disease or cancers and different things like that. So when I see these other companies neglecting all the aspects of aging, I recognize that they can't compete with me. I recognize that they can't compete. I mean, they're not even thinking about mobility aging, right? They're not thinking about the fact that why people lose their mobility, why they can't move as fast, why they're more prone to injuries and falling and different things, why they pick up their briefcase and blow out a disc in their back. They're not even thinking about that, and they're saying that they're working on longevity. Like, clown. What? We're not thinking about emotional intelligence and and purpose-driven life, clown. You think a pill? How many times has that failed? How many times have they got us hyped up about this new thing or this
Gene
new thing?
therapy or
everything. That when they
sugar pill.
When they mapped the genome, it was supposed to be everything. When they figured out that there was telomeres, it was supposed to be everything. When they figured out they can influence telomeres, make them longer or shorter, it was everything. Acai berry, raspberry ketones. They're always trying to sell this one thing and act like it's going to make this huge difference in your life, but that's not how life works. And we've been duped by that so many times.
So how does it work? What should somebody do?
That's a great question. They should recognize that it's not good. It's not that one thing that they're trying to market, anything that's worth something incredible requires a more holistic approach for it to be in excellence, right? So like parenting is not like a pill type. I respect you so much. You're an amazing father. I've seen you around your kids and it's really cool. That's a lot of hard work. There's no like shortcut to it. Like true love, like it helps if you're rich. It does, of course, but you can't buy that top level of love. You can buy companionship, but you can't like the most beautiful things in life that are worth the most. They just can't be just bought just by the money. Money will surely help. These things that mean the most, they can't just be given without some type of work. That's why you have billionaire kids or grandkids of billionaires, and they're literally suicidal, have everything they want and need in life, and some kid from the hood or from the barrio is happier than them, right? These things like happiness, love, true health, true holistic health. Because health isn't just like the numbers, right? Unless you're quantifying happiness and purpose as well.
Yeah.
What really offends me is like these marketing companies that sell like, oh, this blue zone did this. All you need is this. All you need is this Okinawan sweet potato. And then there'll be like this Mediterranean this or this, resveratrol from, red wine. Come on, man. You're telling me what one of the 11 blue zones is using, right? You're not even respecting my intelligence enough to be like, well, the other blue zones aren't using this thing, but I found this. It seems cool. It seems marketable. This, and we're not even smart enough to be like, but what are the things that all the blue zones have in common? Let me tell you what those are.
And what's a blue zone? Just for those who don't know.
So a blue zone is an area in the world where you have a high percentage of centenarians, people living over 100 years old, right? So these marketing companies will try to sell you something from all of
Pasta
them.
from Italy in the mountains.
So Nasara, Costa Rica is one of them as an example.
It's so clown. I can't even stand it. And like, I get mad at the general public for supporting that level of thinking. But first of all, tell me what they all have in common first. And if that's only one thing or two things, start me out with that. Okay. Sure. There's two things that all the blue zones have in common. They eat vegetables. They eat organic vegetables.
Doesn't matter how it's cooked.
The thing that they have in common is that they eat a good amount of high quality vegetables, right? That's one thing. They have a diverse, at the end of the day, polyphenol rich. If you break down the science even more, it's like they have a lot of mitochondrial uncouplers in their diets. But at the end of the day, it's like they eat healthy vegetables, right? Whether they eat meat or not. And then the second thing that they all have in common is that elders have purpose in their societies, right? Come on. And that's the best one. That's the most important one. Makes me a little emotional. I can feel my emotions inside because in my culture, the part of Nigeria that my family's from, we worship our elders. And it's interesting, this American Western mindset, as soon as you can't use an iPhone, you're discarded. You're not useful or relevant.
Or you're running the country.
Exactly.
Well,
it's kind of weird.
We won't go there just yet. But
Yeah. That's a couple months from now when we really have given you value.
Yes. But no, I think you're bringing up a valid point. And, it's, I mean, obviously we're pro-capitalism and marketers are wanting to be effective at, essentially selling a specific product. Hence, they are great at creating a copyright that gets somebody emotionally interested to purchase their product, but it's a magic bullet. And what you're trying to essentially say is there is no magic bullet and that it's a holistic lifestyle.
Absolutely.
So where do people get resources? Where do people even learn about this type of stuff? Is there people you follow? Is there do you have personal content? Like, how do people do that?
First of all, what was I going to say? I understand that they're trying to sell, but we can do better, and we can sell it. It's the mindset on how we're selling it, which is a problem.
Well, and what people want, like people want a pill that does something. They
That's
want a
true.
quick solution. Even snake oil, or in the 1800s, someone peddling some random concoction or something like that cures everything. I mean, people inherently want something easier, and you see this across everything in society. Like, one size fits all doesn't work for pretty much anything, for education or for someone's health or for anything. But that's what gets presented to us, or we think we want. And I think a lot of it's just culturally, that's just what it's been for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And because with certain conveniences, we start to think, oh, well, everything can be easy, or everything should be easy. And as you said, the most important things can't just be faked or done. Just like with doctors and stuff, like in certain business, in certain things in business or even technology, you can skip college and actually do pretty well in certain things. But you might not want a certain doctor, an airline pilot or something, just some random person who didn't put in the time and hours to actually try and learn and develop and train. It's daunting at the same time.
Yeah.
So I guess jumping on what Drew was asking, for someone who's just overwhelmed because it's holistic and like, well, where do I start if something's holistic? Do I start here? Do I start there? Do I start with everything? Do I start with one thing?
Yeah.
What would you say to that person?
Yeah. Thank you, Brian. You actually reminded me what I was trying to say. I was listening to Drew and I lost my train of thought for a second, but the best things in life require little work. Now, time and evolution, and as we grow, we're supposed to make them easier, right? There's nothing wrong with making a complex task more easy, but let's not expect it to be too easy, because we're going to lose the fulfillment. Life is not about being easy. And I think that goes to your point where, we're expecting and wanting the life to be something that's not realistic. Happiness doesn't come from just ease on its own. Mm-hmm. It actually comes from, the studies show, enough tension to make you thankful, basically, for the good things that are happening, but not too much. Okay. So to answer your question, where's the best place to start? Best to start with the basics. Okay. So the basics is the foundation that I need to go to the highest level. But there's a lot of great stuff that you can do on your own. And there's some very low cost and free things that you can do. So my favorite things that are easy to do would first be cleansing and movement. Okay. These are the most important things that you can do for your longevity. So the best type of cleansing is a systematic type of cleansing. And the other thing I wanted to say was, we could all do so much better if we just had more respect for the divine, right? I think that's what's kind of missing in a lot of healing, right? Science has gone away from took this necessary movement away from superstition and they didn't want to deal with things that they couldn't explain anymore, right? And then they went over here where they stopped honoring the beauty of creation. And I think that if we just, even doing the same things, even having the same knowledge, but more respect for how we got to where we are.
Well, we're all one, right?
We are all one. As a species, all the hard, fucked up things that we've gone through has also given us the incredible opportunities we have today. That doesn't mean we have to continue doing the hard thing. That doesn't mean we have to continue doing war specifically. But war has brought us a lot of technology. We can honor the past. We can honor God. We can honor the intricacy of our evolution and while doing the medicine. So it's like chiropractors are awesome, and they're like really powerful understanding and philosophy around, the spinal cord being so important because it's basically your brain, then your spinal cord, then nerves come on spinal cord, the heart starts beating. And so any impedance in the flow of the spinal cord is going to lead to inefficiencies in your organs. Incredible concept. Incredible. It's right. It's the truth. But then to not honor the process of how we got here into this person they just don't honor it enough. Like the beauty of the body. If you put somebody down on a table and x-ray them and say, oh, your spine's out of balance, you got to honor like the processes that have evolved for millions of years to create a human and to be able to survive that misalignment, right? And really understand that the body doesn't know what a chiropractor is. Mm-hmm. It doesn't know what a chiropractor is. So try to understand what it's trying to do. It's gotten this misalignment, and because it doesn't know what a chiropractor is, because a chiropractor is not even a blip in our evolution, we need to understand what the body's trying to do and help it do what it's trying to do, and then honor it if we're going to do something else. Not be like, this is wrong, I'm going to correct it, and just instantly put them back into place and not even recognize like the body has adapted all of their muscles to fit that imbalance. And it's, even though it's not the most optimal and efficient flow of energy to your organs, your body knows how to survive. So it's done this, it's rearranged to survive, and just ripping it back into place, the nerves, the muscles would be like, what is this? I don't know what this is. And they're going to pull you right back out of alignment. So just honoring that evolution and God, or whatever you want to think, got us to develop to this complex being and unified species that we are, would heal so much deeper if we just were like, okay, I'm not going to rip you back into place. I'm going to honor that process of your body trying to survive through this. I'm going to relax your nervous system before I adjust it. I'm going to start building up the muscle memory so you can hold that posture that I'm putting you back in and have a real healing. Like, it's just, we live in this world where medicine is so compartmentalized. You have a foot doctor and an ear doctor and a head doctor and all these different things, and nobody's looking at it holistically. Like, all these contribute to the same system. So sorry to go off on a tangent.
I do want to actually say, so last year, I think it was last year, a little over a year ago, I think, you came to my house. Actually, I was moving. I remember my house was like empty, but you came in, like, you worked on me, and honestly, that was the loosest and like most free I had felt in like a decade, and it lasted for like 3 months. I was like, this is better than any chiropractor or like anything. And you were super thorough, like even like my like fingertips and everything. But like that's a holistic approach.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. I don't know if I said thanks. If I didn't, thank you.
You did.
I'm screwed up again, so you gotta come over. But yeah, like it's true, and it goes to what we were talking about as well, right? Especially when we have like the pharmaceutical culture. Oh well, there's just a pill for that or pill for that, or you could eat healthy or vitamins maybe or something else to help your body build up what it needs instead of just the quick fix or in the chiropractor the jerking into place. Yeah, that theme holds true, at least from what I'm hearing and seeing, the holistic approach.
And thorough. I'm thorough.
Yeah, I think it's important. Like, obviously, when you live in the rat race, you don't have time to slow down and to appreciate, taking your emotional and physical state into consideration, right? Mm-hmm. And I've had it explained, and I believe, we are a spirit with a soul living in a body with a mind. And so if you don't take that holistic approach into perspective, how are you meant to fix the whole equation if you don't even know that's what you're made up of, and then so forth, right? And so I think through your healing process, you're essentially, the physical and the mind coming, because obviously we talk even offline about like fog in your mind sometimes as you get older, and there's tactics and things that you can do. But if you go into a doctor that's just has a narrow perspective in their training, of course, we're grateful and respectful that they put that level of time to learn their specialization, but it's pretty naive to think that they're going to be able to give you advice on how to create a holistic approach when that's not what they focused their energy on. And so there's always this balance with like Eastern philosophy and medicine matched with our Western, and that seems more transactional, and there's an incentive to keep you coming back as a customer 101. And so, I guess kind of with like all that, taken into consideration, is there like an uncommon insight that you could kind of like give us of maybe breakthroughs on the horizon, or ways of kind of that you're seeing all this kind of like come together to give some people kind of some hope on the tech, on that front, technology or otherwise?
That's a great question, Drew. I definitely have an uncommon mindset in regard to age reversal in general. And then I have an uncommon mindset, like personally. But in regard to age reversal, I definitely think in my industry, I might be the only one that thinks the way I do. And it's because I've been thinking about this since I was 6 years old, and I'm 41 years old. So 35 years I've been thinking about my great-great-grandchild, because I've been not like interested or thought it was cool, like committed since I was 6 years old. Since I could read, I've read every anti-aging article that's ever come out. And so I've been thinking about the world from the frame, like my great-great-grandchild. I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, so it was like experienced some racism as a kid and like different things. And, my family's foreigners, they didn't get it. And it was like a little bit challenging in certain ways. But I always believed that in 3 to 4 generations, my offspring would live in a world that they deserve to live in, right? So I've been thinking about the reason I always wanted to stick around was because there was a prophecy about my name, my lineage. And so I wanted to see my great-great-grandchild. So a lot of people don't think about their kids until they're in their 20s or 19 or 25 or 30. I've been thinking about my kids since I was a little math genius at 6. So I do recognize within my industry, my motivations, one, they don't come from a place of fear of death, right? I think a lot of people in the industry that are interested in the industry do have subconscious fear of death, fear of aging, fear of pain, and these type of things. They don't consciously acknowledge it, but when I speak to them and analyze what their goals are and different things, there's this fear, right? I don't have that fear, right? I am not afraid to die. I'm afraid to live as a little punk, and live in a way based on things I don't believe, because it's always been for my kids. You know what I mean? And I'm willing to fight for them and die for them. So, and I've lost my dad, my brother, friends. Like, I'm not scared of death. So that's one thing that I recognize I might be a little different. And my motivation is coming from a place of human potential. This is for human potential, whether I'm here or not. Like, the things that I put in place are for that. And then also within that aspect of seeing it differently, I'm also very aware of the dangers of age reversal. I'm very cognizant of the dangers.
What do you mean by
age.
that?
Yeah, what are the dangers?
Yeah, so first of all, it's not going to happen like they think that it's going to happen. Like, all these people that are putting billions of dollars researching into age reversal, they're looking to make a profit off of something that's an easy pill that's just going to reverse the aging process. Like I've been saying, you can't break universal law. The things that are the most valuable, most powerful have to have a cost, right? Like, the highest levels of love, life, freedom, they all have a cost. Freedom is a beautiful, beautiful concept and thing, but it requires blood. It requires the payment
Sacrifice.
of blood. We see our freedoms being eroded. There's going to have to be a fight, or we're going to lose that. The things that are most valuable require a cost. And so they think that they're going to be able to put out a pill that's going to cost anywhere from $30,000 to $300,000 a year and reverse the aging process. It will not come without huge side effects, whether they're in each person or in the society, right? You guys think that there's division now? You guys think that there is conflict now? You think there's hate now? I recognized very quickly that the top 10%, which are going to be the ones to be able to use age reversal, age
From a
suspension.
financial perspective?
Yeah. So the top 10% are going to be able to double their health span or their youthfulness first, right? And the top 10% also are basically 90% of the carbon footprint. You know what I mean? So like 90% of the carbon footprint comes from the top 10%. It's not some poor kid in Bangladesh who's like contributing. It's us who are flying on jets and planes and traveling all the time for clients and business meetings and conventions and stuff like that. It's us who have multiple cars and drive all day while listening to podcasts and doing all these different things, have 2 phones, 2 laptops, all the different earth minerals that we're using. It's not some poor kid in Bangladesh, right? So we're 90% of the carbon footprint, and we're beginning to think it's a problem, even though it's kind of weird how they're expressing it. What I would be doing there, and I've never met anybody who's sane in the top 10% that would say no to what I'm doing. I've never met anybody who has the money for my stuff.
It doesn't see
that
the advantage of
say
investing in that.
Yeah. So top 10% doubles their lifespan. You're doubling the carbon footprint, and the rest of the world has to pay for it. So you think the division is real now? You think people are hating on the rich now? Ooh. And it like I've always I didn't come from the rich side either. So I have a special responsibility in this thing. So, I come from immigrant like Nigerians who work their ass off and to be great citizens and good people and great Christians and stuff like that. And I saw the incredible work that they put in, and I saw where they were from. So it's important to me that as I increase the quality of life for my clients, that I also increase the quality of life for the earth. Nobody else is thinking about that, right? Nobody else is thinking about heart-centeredness and purpose-driven life. I love, like, these things that I'm talking about, by the way, I can back up with scientific studies, every single thing that I talk about. So what's cool about it is being able to express to my clients, yeah, we're going to do the hormones. Yeah, we're going to do the detoxification at the highest level. Yeah, we're going to optimize your mobility for longevity and all these different things. But guess what? You know, undealt with trauma and stress that's stored in the body can also create disease. And beyond even all the things that we're doing, it can still do that. So why don't we look at the scientific studies about mindfulness and yoga and breath work and meditation? Let's incorporate those to make sure we cover all the bases. Haha, gotcha. Made you a better person. You came here for vanity and to have better sex and to look better. And I just made you an awesome person, because you know what? It's hard to stay a shitty person if you're doing yoga 3 times a week and doing our 15-minute breath work and meditation every day. Okay. So to answer the question that you guys have both been trying to get me to get to, and now I feel heard on some of the things that I had to express. Sure. And I want to be respectful of time and everything. Sorry. But the easy steps that anybody could do is just understanding cleansing. And the trick when it comes to cleansing is to cleanse in a systematic way. Okay. So for instance, some of the scariest things like cognitive disease, right? Which, by the way, I was reversing stage 4 Alzheimer's in 1 week with one of my 13 powerful technologies. Just one. You know, she went from like not being able to stay awake for more than 5 minutes during an hour session of hydrogen therapy, and forgetting who I was every single time, and like forgetting what this thing was on her face, forgetting where she was at every 5 minutes, to 1 week, 7 days later, she stays awake the whole hour and a half session. She's smiling at me. She's playing with my dog. She's asking questions. She's asking her family questions and going deep and playing bingo on her own with no help. She wasn't even able to feed herself anymore. She's feeding herself on her own, remembering all these things, showing her emotions, smiling. She smiled at me the whole time. I thought she was about to slide up in my DMs.
And I'm sure that transformed the family and the people responsible for her too.
Yeah.
And the impact on her healthcare and her, obviously her
nothing
life.
Worked for them for the last 2 years. In 1 week, I reversed it. Like they are seeing the mom that they remember. That's one therapy for 1 week. Okay. So that's one of the things most people are afraid of. They're afraid of Alzheimer's and they're afraid of cancer. Scary things. Even healthy people get those things, right? Like if you're unhealthy, like you can expect to get sick, even if you don't want to. But like, those are the things that healthy people are even scared of, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to say this right now. I believe, and the studies give credence to the fact that you cannot get Alzheimer's unless you have a combination of heavy metals in the brain and the damage of stress, right? So even if you have APOE gene that makes it more likely that you'll get Alzheimer's, right? So that's the gene everybody's scared of, but it's epigenetics over genetics, right? So even if you have that genetic propensity to get Alzheimer's, or you have it in your family history, I'm telling you right now, it's never going to express itself if you have no heavy metals in the brain, and if you mitigate the damage and buildup of stress effects on your body. You won't get it. Even if you're mom had it and your grandma had it and your great grandma had it. Everybody had it. It's not going to happen to you if you get the heavy metals out of your system and if you mitigate the effect of stress. Like for some people who don't have it, they can have a little more stress, maybe they can have a little more heavy metals, and it's not going to express. But if somebody with that, if they have that amount, it might higher likelihood to express for them. So the problem is that our environment is increasingly toxic with all these chemicals and endocrine disruptors and heavy metals. Very few people understand like blood-brain barrier and this and that. Everybody knows that it's there, but they don't know what it is. But obviously it's some type of barrier that's hard to penetrate, but it's not hard for heavy metals to penetrate the blood-brain barrier. But once they've gone in there, it's hard to get them out without systematically cleansing the body. That's why I say systematically cleanse the body. If there are herbs that will detoxify chemicals and metals from the brain, they will only dislodge them and redeposit them unless they have a channel to be detoxed from the body. So that's why I say systematic cleansing. First, you got to cleanse your colon and your blood, right? Your lower levels, right? And then you can cleanse your kidney, your liver, your tissue, right? And then once that's detoxed, then and only then can you detox from your brain, right? And then in that regard, you're not going to get Alzheimer's, dementia, especially if you mitigate, if you counteract the damages of stress that are so prevalent in our society through the meditation practice that we do. And it's only 15 minutes a day. I try not to work with anybody who won't do that, who won't do 3 hours. I've cut it down to 2 hours because I found a way to make it more efficient for them. I know they're busy, but if they won't do 2 hours of yoga a week, like 4 30-minute sessions of yoga, and if they won't do a 15-minute meditation, I won't work with them. I just don't have time. Like
that's the base layer.
Yeah. That's a base layer.
And there's so much more we can get into in this theme. I mean, honestly, this should be a 2-hour interview because of what you're doing, but maybe to leave people with a cliffhanger of, so how do people get a hold of you? And what should they reach out to you for?
Yeah. So thank you again for having me here, guys. You guys are amazing. My IG, Ocean of Youth, at Ocean of Youth is a good way to find me. My website, suspendaging.com. You'll also see some stuff about my anti-aging body therapy, which is stretchlongevity.com. But what I do is my base way to support people is getting them that cleanse, getting them that systematic cleanse that's going to cleanse their body. And then the higher tier, for people who can invest a little more in their health is full on age reversal. I just go to age reversal, and it's my passion. I love managing those markers. There's a system, and it's going to work for everyone, right? That we use to manage those 200 markers and optimize them back to the levels they would have been at around 28 years old. And once we get them to those levels, then we maintain them there, and it takes about half the energy, half the expense to maintain them there. But obviously everybody's a little different. So you'll have those certain markers that'll stick. Yeah. Right. For some person it's this marker, some person it's this marker. So we have to put a little extra focus to optimize that, and a little extra focus to optimize that. But that's on the age reversal side. And then for those clients as well, what I'm really passionate about and what we're also really connected on is regenerative agriculture. What I do is I grow food that's 10 to 30 times nutrient density. And that's actually a really important part of it. And that's why I'm saying these guys can't compete clown. They're not even thinking about the food nutrient density. I mean, 100 years ago, we had 10 times the nutrient density in our food. 10 times the nutrient density in our food. Like, if we were intelligent as a society, that would be the number one gripe that would unify us to say, no, this system, we can't even, we've lost 90% of the nutrients in our food. You don't get to be in charge. You don't get to lead us. If food, that's the thing we need the most. That's the number one thing we need to survive. And we're just not even talking about that issue. So basically, I put a lot of care, a lot of love, a lot of technology. I have a patent. I have some proprietary processes. I grow food that's 30 times what's currently available on average. So what you get at Whole Foods, what you get at Trader Joe's, what you get at these markets, I've returned that 90%, and then I triple it from there using this technology.
That's powerful. Yeah, you're right. Regenerative agriculture, where your food comes from, the nutrients. I mean, so many positive takeaways from this, and excited. I mean, we're going to have you back on to kind of go more in depth, like for sure.
Part two for sure.
So appreciate you joining Ocean. I mean, I'm, sitting back and need to personally rewatch it, just with themes that we're talking about here and to go more in depth. It's so fascinating. So for those that watch to the end, I mean, you just got, so much value out of it. So appreciate your time. Excited for the journey. Click, subscribe, all the things, give us comments.
Drew, I want to say one more thing.
Please.
In regard to the anti-aging body therapy that you got to experience, which I'm excited for you to experience as well.
I'm in.
It's really cool. At the highest level of it, people experience an psychedelic healing experience. The body has DMT, which is the active ingredient in ayahuasca. And my high technology body therapy, as you get used to it, because it is a little challenging, but as you get used to it, the highest level of it, you have an endogenous DMT release, and you have a psychedelic healing
without
taking DMT or ayahuasca or toad or any of these things. So I had a client 2 days ago who had a dump of DMT, and it was like really powerful. But it's something I really love doing, and if somebody is willing to do the functional movement training that I assign for them, I believe that I'm the best probably in the world of getting people out of pain and increasing their mobility. So that's something I'm incredibly passionate about, something I'm teaching therapists and will soon be able to offer in different cities all over the world. But I think it's one of the coolest things to get into that psychedelic healing state from body work. And it's really interesting how that happens. So if you go to my site, click on the anti-aging body therapy to understand that, because there's a really cool explainer video there.
Yep.
And I think it's very inspiring to healers. At the end of the day, one of my highest goals, besides creating a conscious age reversal community where people are gathered in the pursuit of human potential, because that's kind of weird. There's no small town that's committed to human potential. Like, yeah, we're not going to have toxic water because that's not good for human potential. Or like everything, we're going to look at the studies and, psychologically too. And anyways,
that's awesome.
One of my greatest hopes is to, at my highest level, I would like to only heal healers, right? Only like put the highest of what I can do into healers and let them go out and heal the world, because they have a special way of, like, people who heal. Once I heal them, then they can duplicate my my power and my obsession.
Especially when their belief is raised because they've personally experienced it, and then they're able to give that to the next person.
It's really powerful.
So amazing, Ocean. We're grateful, my man, for your time, for all the things.
Thank you for yours.
You know, you guys got blessed with another episode. So subscribe, do the things. Appreciate you. Till next time, signing off.
See ya.